Welcome back, guys, to another video. I am Nathaniel Woolwine, and what I have to do is a research project for an interview for my career development class for eventual job shadow. And today I will be interviewing the host of the ILW podcast,
Justin Woolwine.
All right, we're here. You excited?
I am excited. This is interesting as just you brought this to me, and I thought it would be fun. I thought we go the extra mile and we record this thing. So go ahead and fire away.
All right, we're going to get into the first question. What is the type of this business?
Type of business, it's in the name. The I Love Wrestling podcast. It is a podcast. Pretty much, we've turned it into a brand as well. But the short answer is a podcast. Continue.
All right. Can you just give me a quick little short history of how this company was started and stuff like that?
Short history. I started a YouTube channel a couple years ago, but as far as like the podcast itself, we kicked it off in September 2024. I started interviewing some independent professional wrestlers, some of which I watched growing up, some of which I found throughout social media like Facebook, Instagram, just messaging these guys, trying to get them to come on the podcast to share their stories, how they got into the wrestling business, some of the pros and cons of being in the business, things they're proud of that they've achieved, things like that. And now it's grown into me working with Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, which airs weekly on Thursday nights on AMC. I've been able to work with them and do media, whether it's sharing breaking news, whether that is interviewing some of their talent, just to highlight what they do on television. Like most recently, as of recording this, I had their TNA World Heavyweight Champion Mike Santana on, which was my first interview way back in July with TNA. So and throughout then I've been able to work with them and had several different talent on from all over the roster, and really that's helped exponentially grow the product, as long with having former WWE or AEW or NWA legends on, things like that have kind of just helped grow and really create history on the channel.
I can say, as being a part of the podcast and seeing these people that you've interviewed, that I grew up into watching and I've known, it's really cool. It's really cool to me, I think.
Thank you.
But website, plug, whatever.
Plug, yeah. I mean, for your class and whoever's gonna watch this at your school, it's simple. It's on YouTube. Search up I Love Wrestling Podcast, or at ILWPOD 2024 on social medias. We don't really have a website per se, something that we'd like to develop. It's something I've had conversations with. It's just something I've never done before. So, I mean, with that said, if anybody knows how to create a website, wants to help me that out, I would love that. It's just, right now, it's just building the podcasting brand through social media and through YouTube to create a platform.
All right. Number of employees.
Right now,
crew members.
We, counting myself, there's about 5. There's myself, there's Pops, there's you, who we call Nasty Nate.
Yes.
Mason, and then Isaac, are also known as Wolfman to the Harlem School District.
Yeah. Which is also his name on the podcast.
Yes,
so.
yes.
Yes, he took that a long way.
He did.
Number of locations?
Right now, we just do in studio in my home. I've turned one of the rooms in my house into a full studio where I record the interviews. We do the live streams. I even do other action figure stop motion content as a hobby. So I just one location at home, and wherever my camera goes.
All right. How many years have you been in this business?
So I mentioned in the short history, September of 2024. So just around a year and a half, chomping at that 2 years, and loving every minute.
All right. What is one interesting fact that you can give about ILWPOD?
Well, when we was writing down, we did a little preliminary. We wrote this down. You brought up the subscriber count, which 35,000 subscribers in a year and a half is crazy. But for me, it's just, recording so many interviews in such a short amount of time. As of recording this, 199 episodes of ILWPOD, and that's not counting the live streams, Bros and Pros, Talking with Angels podcast. It's not including any of them. It's just including the interviews I've done with wrestling talent, which is I think is insane.
It is. 'Cause it takes a lot of time and effort. So.
It really does. It really does.
All right. We're gonna flip to the next page, and okay, why did you decide to go into this profession?
Well, as a kid, I always wanted, my first dream per se was to become a professional wrestler. This was a way for me to get into that field without putting my body on the line. Right now, I have some medical issues that I have to work through. I got shoulder injury. I tore my rotator cuff in my labrum in high school, which obviously wrestling is a very physically demanding sport. You need to be able to move the shoulders. I'd need to go get that probably completely redone.
You need your shoulders to wrestle.
Yes. And then also I recently I have asthma, and asthma's been something that's been rough for me the last couple of years, so I'd have to figure out and reestablish that and get that back under control. But that was my original plan, was to be a professional wrestler.
Yeah, and that in this way it's easier for you to. You're not getting hurt.
No,
it's less. No injury.
I get to be a part of the business without getting in the ring and putting my body on the line.
Yes. All right. What was your career plans when you graduated from high school?
So funny enough, looking back, and we'll explain a little bit more on this later. But before I got into trouble, I planned to be a police officer. I'd even done a ride along or two. I talked to several people, and I was told that I'd have to wait till I was closer to 21, which I ended up screwing that up by getting in trouble when I was 19. Obviously wasn't planned. I was I really wanted to do it. It was, it was a way I thought that I could help a community, and put a positive impact on the community, because I'd always seen a rougher side of law enforcement. So this was, my thought process was trying to be the difference maker, which I feel like at this point I'm doing it in a different way.
All right. What was your first job?
My first job was a package handler for UPS at the Rockford Airport.
All right. And then do you have any degrees, certificates, or are you continuing to education courses?
The short answer is no. I got a high school diploma. I did go to the Los Angeles Film School for a short amount of time. Life kind of jumped in the way and put that on pause. Just to further on your question, take it a little step further, do I plan on getting any more education? Never say never. I've thought about going back to film school and stuff like that to finish the filmmaking degree. Especially with doing the podcast, it seems like it could be something that could help
with editing, like
just creating stories. Because we do a lot more than just reviews or interviews. We do reviews, we do live streams, we do all these other little fun things. So I feel like if I was able to go back to film school, it could be something that I could take what I learned and make a better product.
All right. How many hours per week do you work, and what does this impact in your life with time and family, or time with family and your hobbies?
I'm gonna give you the long answer.
Okay.
I simplified it for you on the piece of paper, but time-wise, it kind of never stops. It's one of those, I wake up, I'm answering messages and emails and everything else, trying to just book and get talent on the show and collaborate with wrestling promotions to promote each other's brands. Because a part of this is I've done sponsorships with Warrior Wrestling in Chicago, where we've handed out T-shirts to crowd members to advertise, and as part of it is just also getting the interviews on, and you gotta find time to do that. You got to talk to everybody. So like there's really not a time when I'm not on my phone, like booking and scheduling and even like editing graphics and all the little intricate like images that you need to put in a video or a podcast or to promote the podcast. Like those are things I always do. Not to mention we do live streams 3 to 4 times a week. Those are anywhere from 2 hours to 3.5 to 4 hours, just depending on what the show is. Like we watch Monday Night Raw. That's 2.5 hour show. We watch AEW Dynamite or TNA Impact. That's 2 hour show. Yeah. Sometimes for Dynamite on AEW it's 3 hours, and then you got like pay-per-views for WWE. If we're watching those, that could be 3.5 to 5-6 hour show. Yeah. So it really just depends on that. And then as far as like even interviewing goes, like there could be a week when I do no interviews. Like I've got enough recorded to where I don't have to record anything that week. Or I could be behind and I have to record 6 or 7 interviews in a week. So like it really just depends. And as far as like how that interacts with my family and hobbies and everything, I've tried to weave them in. So like for instance, you're my brother, Pops is on the channel, yes. Isaac's on the channel, your friend Mason's on the channel. I've brought you guys in to where I can spend time with you guys. Yes. We've turned live streams into just family time where we have fun.
Basically, yes.
But there's the other side where like my fiance's in the other room and she sacrifices that 2.5 hours that we could spend for allowing me to be in here, and I do the same. Along with just anything like I've
even personal space.
Like yes,
time,
you're right.
Yes.
It's just like when do I sit down and watch TV? At nighttime usually, maybe sometimes, but also at the same time, I'm answering an email or I'm answering a phone call or editing a video. Like I want to say that I'm never not doing it, but that's not 100% true. But to put a timestamp on it, I can't. Like it's just literally impossible because like I'd be like tallying up every second that it took me to type this message to somebody. But sorry, I can't give you a definitive answer on that. But it never stops. I never clock out.
Hey, hard work pays off. All right.
It will.
What do you enjoy about your profession?
My ability to share people's stories, and their journeys. Some of these wrestlers and other podcasters and photographers and promoters have very interesting lives, and they've done a lot of very interesting things. And not all of it's beautiful and pretty. Like sometimes it's a rough road. We've tackled very tough topics like addiction and incarceration and just, I mean, even when it comes to like, we talked about me sacrificing away from my family. They do that all the time and travel and just their bodies, like, but being able to shed the positive light on what they do and help them get their story out there, because I feel like there's such a negative connotation around wrestling from like the outer public that I almost feel like it's my job to shed that positive light, to let people know the sacrifices these men and women are making. And so my favorite part is just being able to shed that positive light, because there is a lot of great things that happen within wrestling that I don't think get noticed.
All right. What are some of the drawbacks to your profession?
Like we mentioned in the time thing, never clocking out, just sacrificing those hours and those minutes with the family that's not involved with the podcast. Like, for instance, my fiance, she is very supportive of what I do, but she also sacrifices a lot of time. Like there's things we'd like to do that because of this podcast we can't do, but she has faith that it'll pay off, and I do as well. Not to mention just like spending time with my nieces and nephews, or even like my step siblings, even hanging out with Alex and Allie. Like I feel like honestly, the relationship could be stronger with them if I wasn't always on the podcast. So, I mean, there's just people that aren't involved that, unfortunately, with what I do and how we got to go about it, it's hard to find time to spend with them and do this.
All right. What has been the most significant challenge you've had to face throughout this profession?
There's been a couple, but you actually brought this to my attention when we was going over it the first time. And when I first started, my criminal history came up. In which, if you guys don't know, I have made a testimony video on the channel where I go into full detail about how I got in trouble in 2019, how I came to have multitude of felonies for my criminal history, which, is something I had to face. But when I first started the podcast, it was kind of leaked that I had a pass, and it at first made it very difficult. There was some promoters, talent that were hesitant on making anything happen. And I mean, to this day, it's still something that I'll have brought up. It's still a battle that gets brought up into conversations. But coming out on the other side, I feel like with just coming out and being honest about the whole situation, what happened and how it affected me and how I've moved past it has really helped things grow and it's added another layer to what we do, because it's allowed people to know who the real Justin Woolwine is. Yes. Even before that, I didn't, when I started the podcast, I didn't even go as my real name. For that reason, I knew if you looked up the name Justin Woolwine, there was negative things that popped up. So I created the Justin Wright persona, which started on video games. But it was one of those things where I just thought, hey, let me grow a platform for the podcast and for me where I don't have to acknowledge the fact that I got in trouble. But I feel like since everything came out and everything happened, we've been more successful. So, I mean, it was probably the biggest challenge, but coming out of it, it was probably one of the biggest blessings
yes.
For the whole channel.
All right. What personal or unique characteristics should a person possess to be successful in this type of work?
Confidence. You gotta have social skills. Sometimes dealing with, anybody. You gotta know how to weave out negative. You gotta know how to tackle tough issues without, without coming at somebody reckless, for lack of better words. You just gotta know how to navigate a conversation. So I feel like if you're gonna get into this, you gotta have really good social skills, be able to have a conversation that, might involve confrontation without it getting out of hand. More than anything, it's just confidence in yourself. And then at the end of the day, you got to be able to stay positive. And for me, one thing that's really helped that I didn't have you write down, stay humble. Me as a podcaster, I got to stay humble and true to who I am, to what my values are, and to continue to make the product that we make.
All right. Have you worked in other fields or occupations? And if you have, which ones?
Yeah, I've been a man of many hats. I've been a cook. I've been a general manager. I've been a shipping coordinator. Currently on this, technically my main job is landscaper. It's just not as fun to interview about, so we're doing the podcast.
Yes.
And honestly, I plan on making that my full-time career. But those are the other, and then UPS, I was a package handler. I've had many hats, but so far, this is my favorite.
All right. What advice would you give me if I decide to go into this work?
I think the biggest one is develop your social skills. You are, 15 years old as we record this. I think I've got 10 years of life experience on you, which, to most people it doesn't sound like a lot, but I've had a lot of interactions with a lot of different people. Yes. And there's been a lot of things that have probably prepared me to be able to have difficult conversations, which, from personal experience, you're not the best at. So, that's my biggest thing is just develop your social skills to where you can have intelligent and captivating conversations, because part of being a podcaster is you also got to be able to draw in an audience. So you can't just have a boring conversation. Yeah. It's got to be intriguing. It's got to be fun. It's got to be entertaining. So developing your social skills is probably going to be your most important asset if you wanted to be a podcaster.
All right. Do you know anybody in this field that might be able to network with helping me find a job shadow?
I would say yes. The only thing is most of them would be like not local, and for this project, obviously you'd have to follow them and be able to ask questions and see what their day looks like. I don't even know any local, so I mean the best answer for that would be if you could job shadow me, yes, but otherwise, no, not really.
Okay. And then the last are questions that I had to come up with. All right. Okay. All these other ones, they weren't made by me; they were made by the teacher.
Excellent questions.
Yes, and these are great questions. I came up big brained. All right. What and who were your biggest inspirations going into this job?
The what and who is going to be the same thing. I started watching podcasts, specifically wrestling podcasts, around 2014, 2015 with, I was watching Conrad Thompson, and he was doing something to wrestle with Bruce Prichard. He started doing What Happened When with Tony Schiavone. We watched his JR podcast. Like, things like that were really fun for me as a kid. It really let me know, like, I was always interested in behind the scenes. Yeah. And that was my first experience with that. Now, I still pay attention to keep up with Conrad, but Chris Van Vliet. I really like what he's been able to do to shed a positive light on the wrestling business. He's had a lot of great interviews. Probably the number one wrestling podcaster in the world. So if I'm going to take notes from anybody, it's got to be the Podfather in Conrad Thompson, and then the number one ranked wrestling podcaster in the world right now, Chris Van Vliet.
They do say every great artist steals, so.
Yeah, well, I'm not stealing.
Well, you're not stealing, but
I kind of remix.
Remix, yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, and the second and final question. What about this career makes you feel like you have made it?
I like that you asked this question, because it's one where I can counter you and say I haven't. And that's something, going back to earlier, you asked me, what kind of advice would I give you for you doing this? This is a difficult question that you're going to have to ask people. There's often, like, in this field, I've had to go to guys that have done this for 25, 30 years and ask them, like, hey, are you going to retire soon? It's not an easy question. You asking me if I've made it, I haven't. I don't feel I have yet. There's terms that get thrown around a lot when it comes to the podcast and the platform, when it comes to like fastest growing or most rapidly growing. 35,000 subscribers is no small feat when it comes to the podcasting field, especially when you look at the aspect of we don't have any big corporations booking or pushing us. It's not like I'm with a wrestling news site or an outer media source, something we've built all from the ground up. So I don't think I think we're on the right path. I don't think we've made it yet. Going back to being humble, it's just there's so many more things we have to achieve before I can even think about saying I've made it. We're on the right road, and it's just something we'll definitely get there.
All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and it was a very enjoyable interview with you. I'm gonna take this information that you've given, and I'm gonna take it and look more into it.
Okay.
I think. All right. My job shadow is gonna also be a police officer. I've realized this. But I love doing the podcast with you and other family, because it has kind of, even though your advice to me was developed by social skills, it's built it to a good point, I feel.
Yeah,
like.
And
it's helped, working on. And it gets my name out there as a person. kind of got to be humble, but yeah. So, but just thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next time.
Sounds good.
Peace.